Catholic Broadcasting Council presents Mission 2009, Reflections for Lent. Your host, Bishop Paul-André Durocher.
Welcome to Mission 2009. In this mission, as in previous years, we reach out to people of goodwill everywhere, and especially to those who, for whatever reason, are unable to or do not wish to attend a church. Holy Week is the most important week in the Christian year. Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Easter Sunday, betrayal, crucifixion, resurrection. So stay with us tonight and tomorrow night, that we may, together, as the hymn reminds us, build a house where love can dwell and all can safely live. Welcome in this place. Due to the recession, we did not make an appeal for funds to produce a new mission for this year. Instead, we selected moments from past missions, which we think will be most helpful in this time of uncertainty. The intention of this mission, as it has been for all the others, is to stir up the embers of our faith and to welcome home those who have drifted away. I was privileged to preach the television mission in 2001 from Blessed Trinity Church in North Toronto. I began with salvation, the meaning of salvation. If I remember correctly, I began with a question. I want to start this evening with a question. Do you believe that Jesus Christ is our Savior? Of course you do. It's part of our faith. But have you ever tried to explain what that means to a non-Christian? Have you ever tried to really explain it to yourself? What does Jesus saves mean for you? We know what we mean when we say that firemen save, or lifeguards save, or policemen save. During these 3 evenings, I want to take time to really understand what it means to say Jesus saves. And I think the key to a true understanding of salvation lies in our deep desire to live fully, to love and to be loved, to know that our lives are meaningful, and in our fear that death is final, that there is no true love, only rejection and condemnation, and that life does not have any meaning. Let's look at the first great desire God planted within us, the desire to live fully, deeply, abundantly. I can think of moments when I have felt so deeply alive I could have burst. cycling down a long hill on a highway outside Charlottetown, the sun shining on the sea to my right, the sound of someone practicing their bagpipes coming from the house on my left. Or singing a hymn with a huge choir, the brass and the organ swelling below us, the echoes of our voices coming back to us in joy and exaltation. You've lived such moments. Notice how they are mediated by our bodies, because it is in our bodies that we live life to the full. And yet, the very fact that we are embodied spirits carries with it the consequence that we are very limited creatures. I was 15 when my brother's best friend died. I couldn't look at his parents. I could only say foolish, trite things to my brother. At 15, I encountered the brutality of death, and it frightened me. And I imagine death frightens you as much as it frightens me. The anxiety produced in us by the thought of our death leads to different reactions. Some people become indifferent, nearly lethargic. They give up caring about most things since they feel that their lives don't have much meaning. For these people, after all is said and done, their living doesn't amount to much, so why get excited? Others become hyperactive, trying to cram into each moment as many experiences as possible. There's a note of frenzy in their lives, a nervousness that stops them from truly living the present moment, for that moment is too fleeting and never enough. Life for them becomes a constant search for the ultimate high. And yet others seek to live life vicariously. They live through the lives of others. We identify with a rock band, a sports team, a star. We forget to live our own lives. Our fear of death distorts our lives. But our refusal to face that fear hides that distortion from us until we see nothing wrong with our superficial way of living, our frenzied way of living, our vicarious way of living. The second great desire God planted within us is the desire for loving relationships. And I can think of moments when I have known myself to be living such a loving relationship. Falling down as a child, splitting the skin over my eye, only to be picked up by my father and mother, held, comforted, rushed to the hospital. How I felt protected and cared for. As an adult, walking with one person who listened to me, able to talk of my pain, letting myself cry, my vulnerability safe with this friend. You also have lived such moments, and yet behind the joy of life-giving relationships hides the fear of rejection and condemnation. And early on in life, we learn somehow that love has to be earned, that appreciation has to be merited, and slowly, to varying degrees, there grows in us a sense of the precariousness of others' love for us. I was 7 years old when we moved to a new town. I lost all my friends. I had so much difficulty making new ones. At 7 years old, I encountered the pain of loneliness, and it hurt me. I was a teenager when my girlfriend decided to go out with another classmate. And in my awkwardness, I felt that I was unattractive, unpopular, not good enough. At 17, I encountered the complexity of relationships, and it surprised me. You also have experienced that fear. Some of us, well, we develop a knack for getting others to love us. We learn to pay the right compliment, to give in at the right moment, to bring the right gift at the right time. We somehow figure out ways to succeed in our relationships. But underneath it all is the feeling that if it weren't for our abilities, we would be left behind. We would end up lonely and rejected. Others never develop that knack. They are seen by the first group as pathetic figures, losers in life, unable to hold on to worthwhile relationships. Yet, they also are victims of the same fear, only it's closer to the surface. Often they turn away, close in on themselves, sneak away in solitude in order to avoid the pain of rejection that all too often they have felt in their lives. And yet others have given up on the dream of truly being loved and have decided to spend their energies looking out for number one. Their relationships are characterized by self-serving decisions, by the use of power, even of violence.